became very clear to me that the next generation of wealth was happening within the technology industry. And Black people and people of color needed to have a seat at that table. And, we needed to be on the cap tables of these businesses. We needed to be in the rooms when we're designing the next generation of the infrastructure and the software, and making sure that we have executive positions, internships, careers in Silicon Valley and in the technology space. We need to understand that what's happening in this world is not going backwards. What's going on with crypto, what's going on with AI, how can we easily decode what these things are so that we have access to the information. And the world is being built around us. It's specifically within Silicon Valley and within the future of the technology industry. And, for me, I wanted to do it in a way that represented us. That was cool, that was fun, that was collaborative, that was innovative, that allowed us to put these two, great cultural leaders and amazing founders together in a room and see what happens when they just brainstorm ideas, and then watch that turn into code that then people use on a day-to-day basis. And I think that for me, that's always been the journey of being able to kind of see what happens when you put things that are often don't make sense. You think about Airbnb, like who would have thought it was a good idea to sleep in a stranger's home? That sounds like a crazy idea, right? And then, Brian Chesney has completely redefined and transformed the entire hospitality industry. Or who thought it was a good idea to sit in a stranger's car? Right. And that companies like Lyft and Uber have completely revolutionized how we move around all around the world. And there's so many more good ideas that look like crazy, insane things. But I'm just trying to make sure to let people know that's actually the thing you should be going after. Because if everyone's going after the same thing, you're going to have 18 million people that are all finding that one idea, as opposed to taking that road less traveled. Wow. Taking the vision that that nobody has gone after accomplishing yet, and the only reason that has happened is because we're waiting on you to get that idea out. Wow. And I think that technology is the modern day alchemy, and I personally do believe that it's the best new way in order to get ideas out. And I want to just kind of raise the flag and, light the sparks and tell everybody, hey, come over here. Wow. Come try out like what's happening when you put a little bit of culture and code together.
So listen, Chris, all you have fundamentally done was this. You said yes. You said yes to creating something that was unheard of, that wasn't seen within our communities, to creating things that would benefit generations to come. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I was just having this conversation around the things that we do now will materially not only impact the current or our families or our communities, but these generations that aren't in existence, mm-hmm. that will be here. And we fail to realize that as a culture. And I just want everyone that's listening and viewing this show to understand how necessary they are for the generations to come.
For sure.
And that what we do now determines the greater tomorrow. You had an idea to create something to give us access, to give us an opportunity to come to the table, mm-hmm. create our table to where we can come together, share wisdom, share ideas, not just for the now, but for the greater tomorrow. My brothers, that is what it's all about. That is what it's all about. The Bible says, iron sharpens iron. And what Chris just articulated is simply that. And that's a pure example of what that is. And it is on us to create those spaces, those opportunities, the opportunities to access to things that we've never had. Because where you come from or where you've been or your current situation does not determine your final destination. Together, we can truly create the life that we deserve, that our children deserve, that our generations to come deserve. They don't deserve to live how we live. They don't deserve to have to live how our ancestors lived. It's on us because our ancestors and our grandparents before us have paved the way for us to be even having this conversation today.
Absolutely.
They've paved the way for us to get in position to help get them in position.
Mm-hmm.
But we continue to stay in our position of doubt, disbelief.